Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we will be doing some more notable people from the area. This time looking at the towns of Pennington Gap, Virginia, and Kingsport, Tennessee. As always, these will be based on what I find in Wikipedia. I will list the Wikipedia source in the description below. But let's jump into this, starting with Pennington Gap. It's only got 5 people. First one we're going to look at is Barry Audia, a former pro boxer from Pennington Gap. He began his boxing career in the early 1970s and turned pro in 1980. And his rank as a boxer in the mid 1980s peaked at number 7 in the world. Barry Audia. Or Audia. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. The next person we're going to look at is Jim Pankavitz. James Franklin Pankavitz is an American professional baseball coach, a former Major League Baseball infielder, and current minor league manager for the Lynchburg Hillcats. In the major leagues, he appeared in 318 games played, 316 of them for the Houston Astros. So that was Jim Pankavitz. Next is William C. Wampler. William C. Wampler was a Virginia newspaperman, businessman, and Republican politician who served multiple terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. That was William C. Wampler. Next is Carol S. Wood. She is a retired American mathematician, the Edward Burr Van Vleck Professor of Mathematics Emerita at Wesleyan University, and her research concerns mathematical logic and model theoretic algebra, and in particular the theory of differentially closed fields. Carol S. Wood. And the last person from Pennington Gap we're going to talk about is Claude Eli. He was an American religious singer-songwriter and a Pentecostal holiness preacher. Brother Claude Eli. And that's all for Pennington Gap. Now, let's look at Kingsport. Kingsport's a bigger town and thus has a bigger list here. First person we're going to talk about from Kingsport, Tennessee is Lisa Author. She is an American author and novelist that grew up and was born in Kingsport. Next is Edward L Ayers, who is an American historian, professor, administrator, and 9th president of the University of Richmond, having served from 2007 to 2015. In July of 2013, he was awarded the National Humanities Medal by President Obama at a White House ceremony. He was raised in Kingsport. He's also a Bancroft prize-winning historian. So that's Edward L. Ayers. Next person we're going to talk about is Barry Bells. He is the American longtime bass player and harmony vocalist for the Alison Krauss and the Union Station. He has been in the band for around 25 years. He is Grammy Award winning. Especially with the band for the song Paper Airplane in 2012. That was Barry Bells. Next person we're going to talk about is James F. Barker, the former president of Clemson University from 1999 to 2013. That's all it's really got on him. James F. Barker. Next person we're going to talk about is Nick Castle. He's an American screenwriter, film director, and actor, and he is known for playing Michael Myers in John Carpenter's horror film Halloween in 1978. He also co-wrote Escape from New York in 1981 with Carpenter. He was born in Kingsport and does make appearances at the local haunted houses. So yeah, Nick Castle. Next person we're going to talk about is Jeff Chapman Crane. It says he is an Appalachian artist and American realist. And that's all it has for him. Jeff Chapman Crane. Next person we're going to look at is Harry Coover. Dr. Harry Wesley Coover Jr. is the inventor of Eastman 910, commonly known as superglue. That's all it has of him, Harry Coover. Next person we're going to talk about is Denny Crawford. He is a former professional American football guard. He played at the University of Tennessee, including the 1943 Sugar Bowl. He lettered at Tennessee in 42, 46, and 47, where he was elected team captain as a senior. Denny Crawford. Next person we're going to talk about is Amy Daly. She is an American country music artist, signed to Curve Records in 2003. She left the label in 2008. Daly has released 7 singles, of which 5 have entered the U.S. Billboard Hot Country Songs charts, despite never releasing an album. So yeah, Amy Daly. Next person we're going to talk about is Bobby Dodd. And you'll hear this name a lot. Bobby Dodd is a college football Hall of Fame inductee as both a football player for the University of Tennessee and coach for Georgia Tech. Let's see. He is only one of 4 to be inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame as both a player and coach. But yeah, Bobby Dodd. Next is Bobby Eaton. Let me move the screen down a bit here. Bobby Eaton is an American retired professional wrestler who made his debut in 1976. Midnight Express, I believe, just off the top of my head, if I'm remembering right. He is most famous for his work in tag teams, especially his days as one half of the Midnight Express. Yep, under the management of Jim Cornette. He originally teamed with Dennis Condrey and later on with Stan Lane, I think it is. The name's kind of blurred out as that ends the thing. But yeah, Bobby Eaton. Next person we're going to talk about, or people, is Elle and Blair Fowler. They are online beauty retailers who spent part of their childhoods in Kingsport. They are sisters who posted beauty and style-related tutorials on YouTube as All That Glitters 21, Elle, and Juicy Star 07, Blair. Elle came into the beauty and fashion world during the summer of 2008 and convinced Blair to join her. But yeah, Elle and Blair Fowler. Next person we're going to talk about is Daniel Kilgore. He is an American football center for the Kansas City Chiefs of the National Football League. He was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers and in the 5th round of the 2011 NFL Draft. He played his college football at Appalachian State and attended Dobbins-Bennett High School, which Dobbins-Bennett is the big high school in Kingsport. So, Daniel Kilgore. Cliff Kresge. He is a nationwide tour golfer who splits his time between homes in Kingsport and Florida and has played on the PGA Tour and the Web.com Tour since 1997. Cliff Kresge. Next person we're going to talk about is Blake Leeper, who is a Paralympic silver medalist. A United States Paralympic athlete, 8-time Paralympic track and field international medalist, who's a world record holder and a 3-time American record holder. Blake Leeper. Next person we want to talk about is Clarence Lofton. He is credited as Cripple Clarence Lofton and was an American boogie-woogie pianist and singer born in Kingsport. Clarence Lofton. Next we're going to talk about is Matt Mahaffey, who is a musician and the frontman of the pop rock band Elle. He can play multiple instruments, is a record producer and recording engineer for his band as well. So, Matt Mahaffey. Next person we're going to talk about, or people, is Walty Brownie McGee, and Stick McGee, who are brothers and blues musicians who grew up in Kingsport and other East Tennessee towns. Brownie McGee was an American folk music and Piedmont blues singer and guitarist, best known for his collaboration with the harmonica player Sonny Terry. Stick McGee was an American jump blues guitarist, singer, and songwriter, known for his song "Drinkin' Wine, Spodiody," which was wrote by J. Mayo Williams. So Brownie and Stick McGee. Next person we're going to talk about is Ken Mellons, who is an American country music artist who released his self-titled debut album in 1994. This album produced the single Jukebox Junkie, a top 10 hit on the Hot Country Songs charts, and Mellon followed up the debut album with 3 more albums. So yeah, Ken Mellons. Next person we're going to talk about is John Palmer, who is a former NBC News correspondent who was born in Kingsport and a graduate of Dobbins-Bennett High School. Again, the big high school in Kingsport. So yeah, John Palmer. Next person we're going to talk about is James Quillen, also known as Jimmy Quillen. He was a member of the U.S. House of Representatives from Tennessee's 1st Congressional District, which is the northeasternmost district of Tennessee. And he was a representative from 1963 to 1997. And around here, you'll see, like, at the some of the hospitals, and I know the School of Medicine. There's the James Quillen School of Medicine, which you have to kind of figure is based on him. So again, one of the names you'll hear around here often. So that was Jimmy Quillen. Next person we're going to talk about is John Shelton Reed, who is an American sociologist and essayist, and author and editor of 22 books, most of them dealing with the contemporary American South. Reed has also written for a variety of non-academic publications, such as the Wall Street Journal, National Review, and Oxford American something. Again, it kind of just fades out where it's Wikipedia. It only does so large of a thing, but yeah. John Reed. Next person we're going to talk about is Selwa Shouker, or Lucky Roosevelt, who was Chief of Protocol of the United States from 1982 to 1989 and a former journalist for the Washington Post, and married Archibald B. Roosevelt. So yeah. And she served longer than anyone else in that position as Chief of Protocol for the United States. Which is an officer of the U.S. Department of State responsible for advising the President of the U.S., the Vice President of the U.S., and the United States Secretary of State on matters of national and international diplomatic protocol. So, how to act and respond to certain people, nationally and internationally. At least that's what I'm understanding out of it. Selwa Shouker Lucky Roosevelt. But yeah, she married Archibald B. Roosevelt, who is a grandson of Teddy Roosevelt, former U.S. president. But yeah, Lucky Roosevelt. Next person we're going to talk about is Cody Sensabaugh, who is an American football cornerback who is currently a free agent. He played college football at Clemson and was drafted by the Tennessee Titans in the 4th round of the 2012 NFL Draft. Apparently, he most recently had played for the Pittsburgh Steelers as cornerback. Cody Sensabaugh. Next person we're going to talk about is Gerald Sensabaugh, who is a former American football safety. He was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 5th round of the 2005 NFL Draft, and he also played for the Dallas Cowboys. He played college football at North Carolina and East Tennessee State University. So yeah, if he played at ETSU, that was before their football program completely died, because it did die for about a decade or so. But I was there when they renewed the NFL, or renewed their college football program. So Gerald Sensabaugh. Leroy Sprinkle is the next person we're talking about. He was an American high school sports coach and athletics advocate in eastern Tennessee and South Florida. Often referred to as the father of East Tennessee sports, he had several notable accomplishments along his tenured career, including helping to standardize high school officiating in the state of Tennessee. He was also general manager of the Canton Independents. But yeah, Leroy Sprinkle. Next person we're going to talk about is Adam Steffi, who is an American mandolin player best known for playing in bluegrass and old-time styles. He spent time as a member of bands such as Alison Krauss and Union Station, Mountain Heart, Lonesome River Band, the Dan Tyminski Band, and the Boxcars and the Isaacs. So yeah, Adam Steffi. Next person we're going to talk about is Bill Stever. He is a biologist and writer well known for bringing scientific topics to a popular audience. Bill Stever. Next person we're going to talk about is Cyrus Thomas, who was a U.S. ethnologist and entomologist prominent in the late 19th century and noted for his studies in the natural history of the American West. Cyrus Thomas. Next person we're going to talk about is Stephen Williams. who is an American actor in films and television. He is known for his roles as Captain Adam Fuller on 21 Jump Street, Lieutenant Jefferson Burnett on The Equalizer, Detective August Brooks on LA Heat, X on The X-Files, Russell Lincoln in Lynx and Rufus. Oh, sorry, in Lynx and as Rufus Turner in Supernatural. But Stephen Williams. Last person we're going to talk about today is Charles Wright. He is a poet who spent part of his childhood and adult life in Kingsport. He shared the National Book Award in 1983 for country music selected early poems and won the Pulitzer Prize in 1998 for Black Zodiac. From 2014 to 2015, he served as the 50th Poet Laureate in the U.S. But yeah, that was Charles Wright. And that gives us everyone from Pennington Gap and Kingsport. As always, I will go ahead and list the sources I was reading from in the description below. But as always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll see you all in the next video, but until then, later.